Good morning. So I'm taking a stroll because there's construction and you all won't be able to hear me. And that won't be good. So good morning to you. We're taking a stroll today. It's day 14 of the Abundance book, day 14 of the Abundance Plan. I am in beautiful Southeast DC, which at one time was a very different neighborhood. Gentrification has given it a whole new feel. So it's interesting to me to take a walk around a place that I used to spend a lot of time at. That kind of ties into this as I realized today. So let me read the statement before I cross the street. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. So I'm going to read it again verbatim from the book. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. So, every now and again, I like to read it exactly that as it is from the book, so you guys get an idea of the book in case you don't have it yet. When we think about the Christ, when we think about that person, Jesus, Yeshua, who so loved everyone, who did not judge, who saw the best in people, who forgave. When we look at the example that he was coming to give us, this was the example of what it is to be so filled with the love of that which created you, and to know that that love was above all. And so nothing else kind of mattered, you know? But in order for him to get to that point, well, first of all, he was kind of a special dude, right? But in order for any of us to get to that point, we really have to do some ego work, right? Because that's some hard shit. Like, think about it. How hard is it for us to get to a place where we can forgive people for doing some of the worst things to us? Like, our ego wants justice. Our ego wants suffering. Our ego wants those who hurt us to feel the pain that they gave us. Our ego wants that satisfaction. And here comes this dude, this Christ, to say, now, because you are something so much greater. I'll be honest, I'm nowhere near that. No, I'm not. I work on it every day. It's an example to aspire toward. There's something about me walking around this neighborhood that is calling me to speak on something. I just don't know what it is. Well, maybe here it is. And maybe I have. So, my ex-husband and I spent our entire marriage here in the DC, Maryland area. We didn't live in Southeast, but I have a lot of memories here because my homeschooling group met here a lot. A lot of the moms lived down here near Anacostia Park. And, you know, I still kind of remember how to get around the highways down this way. Ironically, my eldest daughter, my gift daughter, she lives in Southeast now. I had to do a lot of forgiving of myself and my ex-husband. And I tell you these stories as examples to see where you can use it in your life, and hopefully some of my life can be an example to you. Not to necessarily do what I did, but to know what's possible. The details are not important at this stage in life, and I've told them many times over a variety of mediums over the course of the years. But my ex-husband and I had a very toxic marriage. It could have been healthy had we had tools. It could have been healthy had we been different people, but we weren't, and so the marriage wasn't healthy. And there were moments when my anger, disdain, and disrespect for him were probably pretty apparent. That probably didn't help his issues of abandonment, low self-worth, not feeling like he was even supposed to be on this earth, like his whole birth was a mistake, was the message that he came into the world with. His existence through his teenage mom in the 60s was a mistake. That's the vibration that he felt in her womb for all those 9 months. And so when he was born, he was trying desperately to prove that he should be here, and tried desperately to have people love him by any means necessary, by hook or by crook, by force, by telling things that just weren't true. It didn't matter. He just wanted the people around him to want to be with him and love him, to validate his existence. Not healthy methods. I can say all this and know this now because I've done work, and even though I knew that there were these issues, I was in my early 20s and I couldn't quite see that, right? Like I said yesterday, the flags were flying, but I was looking for safety, and he said that he could keep me safe. And I decided not to be responsible for anything because I thought in my mind, oh, I have a husband. Here, now you're going to take care of my whole entire life. Like all I have to do is be here and cook and clean and raise kids and stuff like it was 1952. I don't have to do anything. Like he's going to do all the hard stuff, and I just got to play and have fun. No. What's interesting is that, and I'm going to get to the forgiveness part. What's interesting is that there are people who would tell me, how did you end up in that situation? You seem like such a strong person. I can't imagine you being in that type of relationship. Maybe I was, and I gave up my power. And I say that because as women, specifically for the women, we will get into a relationship with someone. It will become toxic, abusive, whatever have you. And we will look at the man for all that he did wrong. But we fail to say, I agreed to this. Somewhere in my mind, I agreed to this because I thought I deserved it. I agreed to this because I abdicated my power. I agreed to this because every woman doesn't end up in these situations. There's some women who just would not agree to that treatment. It's not going to happen. And I need you guys to understand, this is not because we look for blame so quickly. We look for blame so quickly, which is why it's so hard for us to be like Yeshua and forgive. Because we want to blame so quickly. Someone has to be responsible for my pain. And it's not me. Someone is at fault for the fact that I went through shit. And it's not me. I didn't do that. I would never do that to myself. I would never put myself in a position to have my life threatened. God, what kind of person do you think I am? All said in sarcasm, of course, because logically, no one would do that. But like I said yesterday, when we're not conscious, we will look for people to fill certain patterns and needs and responses that we are accustomed to. So of course it's not on purpose. Well, in my case, it actually kind of was. I didn't think I deserved any better. I thought my marriage, in some ways in the beginning, was a punishment for all of the mistakes that I had made in my life, for how bad I was, for how I didn't complete things, for blessings I had given up. I actually did have those thoughts. I digress. And so, for a while, I blamed my ex-husband for a lot of things in the marriage. I didn't want my life to be that hard. It was his fault. I don't want to work like that. That was his fault. You know, if he had just done the stuff he was supposed to do, I wouldn't have had to trek 3 hours to a job and 3 hours back. And he just made my life so inconvenient. Because that's not what I signed on for. I signed on for convenience. I didn't sign on for growth. Man, that man was one of the best lessons ever in my entire fucking life. And after I left, and it was real rocky for a while when I left. I'm bearing a lot of my soul here a little bit, y'all. He and I spoke a lot. We talked a lot. We cried a lot together. We apologized a lot. And we forgave each other for what we didn't know. And we forgave each other for the pain we caused each other. Because deep down inside, he did love me. He had no tools to show that in a way that was healthy. And deep down inside, I did love him. And I did not have tools of my own. He is the reason why I do what I do. My ex-husband, who some of you know, passed away this May from complications due to COVID. He is the reason why Sensual Energy Alchemy exists. And he knew that, by the way. Because I thought to myself, if people just worked on their own shit and their own pain and forgave and let go, they wouldn't find themselves in toxic relationships. That was my hope. If people could learn how to see where their patterns were, if they could forgive their mothers, their fathers, their caregivers, if they could forgive that first boyfriend, that first girlfriend, if they could forgive those people and release all of that slush, if people could remember that they are souls having a human experience and not get caught up in all of the story that comes along with their life, because I was caught up in my story and my ex-husband was caught up in his story, and our stories were detrimental. If people could do that, then maybe a woman wouldn't go through the pain that I went through. Maybe a man wouldn't experience the pain and the heartbreak that my ex-husband did. And so that marriage, which people would give all kinds of labels of what it was and what he did and make me the victim, that marriage is the reason why I have sensual energy alchemy. That marriage is the reason why I'm on here doing these live streams. That experience is the reason why I create programs and take on clients. That is the power of forgiveness. It sets you free. It sets you free. I walk around this neighborhood, and as I've been traveling through DC, this feels like a whole life ago for me. The woman that I was when I lived here feels like a whole other person to me. This minivan toting, stay-at-home, homeschooling mom taking her kids to the library for books and, making all kinds of desserts. The same woman who's struggling to feed her children with said desserts. The same woman who spent time crying, saying, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why are we homeless? I don't like it. Fix it. Someone else fix it, so that my life can be the way I think it's supposed to be. That woman too. Forgiveness. Forgiveness requires us to remember that we are consciousness in the flesh. Let me take it back. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. No person is your love supply. No person is your money supply. No person is your power supply. I had to learn that in my marriage. I had to learn that in my life. Through the understanding that I am consciousness embodied in human form. I'm my own fucking electrical, I forgot the name of the word. I'm my own electricity. I'm my own power source. I'm my own plug. I'm my own outlet. Do you understand how powerful that is? And can you see how thinking of yourself that way, seeing yourself that way, understanding yourself that way can help you to forgive? Can help you to have that Christ-like way of loving others without all the judgment? Because really, what you're judging are their stories. Their stories. The stories of who they think they are and what they think the world is. Everybody's judging an illusion. Because at the end of the day, we all of us, I don't care if you're wearing a Brooklyn hat, a MAGA hat, Dallas Cowboys hat, a Giants hat, Yankee hat, or Red Sox hat. We all came from the same place. And so keep in mind that what you see around you is part of the story that humanity is acting out on its way to evolution or extinction. But either way, it's kind of a bit of part of the process. So anyway, this is my story today. Yeah, not sure why forgiveness came to me today, but I guess walking around this place, this particular neighborhood, lots of memories, lots of good stuff. It still hurts sometimes to come down here. It still hurts sometimes to think about what my life could have been, and it's gonna sting. But, and I love my life now. I love who I am. I love what I do. I love the people I'm meeting. I can't imagine still keeping that life that I had before. It wouldn't fit me now. I've grown out of that life. It's 2 sizes too small, as they say in Grinch That Stole Christmas. Anyway, that's it for today, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Think about forgiving people and just letting that shit go. Just let it go. What you gonna do? Take it with you when you die? You don't take anything with you when you die. Not even your money. Anyway, forgive, love, and go have a fucking abundant day. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.